Hi, Sofa viewers. So we are here with Javier Fuentes-León. Hope I said that right.
Yes, you did.
And we're here to interview him about the new film coming out called Contra Corriente, or known in English as Undertow. So, how are you today?
I'm very well, thank you.
So we'll start with general questions. What inspired you to do the film? Because it's a very particular subject matter, so...
Well, actually, the inspiration, the seed for the film came from a writing exercise in class when I was studying film at Cal Arts in LA.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was a writing class they told us write a scene where, you know, with 3 characters, no more than 3 characters in one location, make sure you have a lot of conflict, and use the props. You know, create props and use them. And so I wrote a scene that, in class in 20 minutes, that with a few changes, it's still in the film, and not only it's in the film, but it's actually one of the major scenes, because it's the scene that introduces all the magical aspects.
Which scene is it, specifically?
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you. It's a scene in which the fisherman walks into his house and finds a lover sitting there, and his wife's asleep, and he's freaking out that she's going to find out, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you know, people know what the story's about, so...
Yeah.
It's about a fisherman who's married and about to be a father that has a very secret love affair with another man. So he walks in to find his lover in his own kitchen while his wife is asleep, so he's freaking out, and then realizes that she doesn't see him.
Yeah. And about the specific subject matter of the film, is that controversial for currently in Peru? Like, how's that going to be received?
Well, already premiered there. You know, it had theatrical
And how did
release.
it do?
It did well. You know, it's a film. I mean, that not everybody went to see. You know, it still creates an obstacle. The fact that there's 2 men kissing, you know, or that there's romantic anything between 2 men still stops a lot of people from going. You know, especially men. They don't want to be seen going into a theater where, you know, 2 men are kissing. But of all the Peruvian films that had premiered this year, is the one that had the biggest box office by far. You know, so it was, in that sense, it was great. You know, but of course Hollywood films do way better. You know, so.
Well, what did you want your audience to take from the film? Because there were a lot of controversies within the film concerning homosexuality, whether it like ruins the family, and there needs to be. It seemed as if through the subject matter that there needed to be a sacrifice of family in order for these 2 men to be able to love each other. So, what message did you want the audience to come out with?
Well, not that you have to sacrifice your family, but basically, it's a love story. You know, it's a love triangle where, you know, this fisherman is married and he's in love with his wife, and, you know, and really happy to be a father, but also has a very passionate love story with another man. And my idea was to present both loves on the same way. You know, like they are all part of the same, I don't know how to explain, like, you know, spectrum of love or of human expression, or, you know, sexual expression, you know, and put them in the same level. Not people that are against homosexuality tend to diminish it, tend to say that it's not valid, that the love between 2 men or 2 women, it's deviant and it's not, you know, as holy as, you know, a love between a man and a woman. I was just trying to present both of them at the same.
But ironically, he only expresses that he wants his lover to stay once the lover's already dead. So.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, to come out, to express love in society that constantly tells you that that's wrong, not only wrong, but a big sin that you're going to burn in hell, you know, which is the situation of this fishing village. Then, you know, it's really tough to really say, you know, to tell everybody and to tell yourself, this is what I want, this is what I am, you know.
So it's more, you were going from the viewpoint more of a personal struggle.
Definitely,
Yeah.
You know, yeah, it is personal. It's a personal struggle. I mean, it's a story. It's a movie about personal liberation through love. You know, it's ironic and bittersweet that he realizes all of this once his boyfriend or his lover passes away. You know, and comes back. But it's actually that. but I like the idea that in a way death is a new beginning. It allows them to be for the first time, and ironically, for the first time, they can be out in the open. Because nobody sees the lover. So he can actually walk holding hands in the town and feel the freedom that love gives you. Because for the first time, he doesn't have to worry about society looking.
But it's somewhat tragic, though.
Of
like
course.
for me, it was.
It's completely tragic.
Yeah.
It's bittersweet, But I'm not saying with that love between two men can only happen if one of them dies, or if or if you hide.
Yeah.
I'm just using that metaphor of death as a new beginning. I'm also using it as the invisibility of a lot of people that are gay that have to hide, and their gay part, if you want, the gayness, and make that as a ghost.
Yeah.
So I'm using death as a metaphor for a lot of issues that I feel that are going on in terms of homosexuality in societies in which it's not accepted, which is pretty much most of it.
Yeah. So it paints a realistic picture of kind of a homophobic society within Peru, where you're saying all of.
I think it's very universal.
Yeah.
I think that even in cities in which supposedly, I'm not gonna try. Of course, New York is much more gay friendly than Lima is, which is the capital city of Peru. But I wouldn't say that everybody in New York is really open-minded and and accepts gay people. So people here are way better off. Gay people are here way better off, but it's not resolved. And I think it's still gonna be. We're still gonna need more time for people to really don't care about sexuality.
I don't know if you're into African cinema at all, but there was a film that we had to watch for my African cinema class this week called Dakon, and it's about this exact same matter, except he doesn't use the ghost as a metaphor and everything, but it's about two gay men in Africa, and I don't know if you've heard of it. It's the film Kamara, but it was made in the 90s, and it's so pertinent to what you just made. It's very interesting, so I don't know, you should see that.
Yeah, we'll look up. What's the name again?
Dakan, D-A-K-A-N. Same to you, so for viewers, you should see it. And then another question, let me think. Oh yeah, so stylistically, you have you paint a great portrait of the Peruvian landscape. Where did you learn how to, tell us a little bit about your filmmaking style and where you learned this?
Well, I studied film in LA at CalArts, and started kind of late because I studied medicine in Peru, and I graduated as a doctor, and then I came to the U.S. To study film, So I went to film school there, and it was, the focus of the program I went to was, a lot of it had to do with how to write a story, dramatic structure, how to create a story, and also how to work with actors. We even took acting classes for the whole year, which I think is really important for a director. If you want to tell narrative stories with actors, you need to know how to work with them. And I think a lot of film schools don't really put a lot of focus on that. So I was really happy that we did that. Because one of the things I enjoyed the most about making a film is working with the actors. In terms of the visual style and all that, I guess I've watched a lot of films and learned from there. I'm not really, a techie. I don't know how to light. I don't know much about lighting or anything. But our purpose with the DP and the director of photography, and that was great that we both were in sync, was that everything was going to be in service of the actors and of the story. The camera was not going to be showing off. Look, look, or look at this movement. The camera is kind of like a witness of what's going on in a way that the ghost, like a ghost.
That's what I was going to bring up. That's interesting parallel and metaphor. But also, I read a synopsis of it before watching it, just to kind of do my homework before. And I was thinking to myself, how is he going to make this guy into a ghost? How is he going to come back? And it's very subtle. So it's really it's in the dialogue and the interaction between characters that you realize that this man is dead. And so it's really interesting.
Yeah, because I wanted you to see the film through the eyes of the main character. So that's why the transition from the lover going from being alive to being gone, it happens off camera, off screen, you know, and you realize that it's happened at the same time that the main character does, which I wanted you to. And I know that it was a little bit of a risk because people have complained, why don't we see him die, you know?
Yeah.
And for me, it was important that you felt the film through the same way that the main character does, and that the confusion that he has at that moment, it's fine if the audience is confused for a little bit, as long as it's not confused for the whole film, you know.
Okay.
I think that audiences actually enjoy when they feel that they discover
Mm-hmm.
something, and you're not feeling that.
Yeah. No, yeah, I really enjoyed that a lot. And even with the linguistic barrier, you can, for me at least, you can still really understand everything that's going on, and it was really fluid. I really enjoyed it a lot.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for coming in, and we look forward to any other productions you have.
Oh yeah, thank you, and I hope that everybody goes to see it.
Yeah,
Cinema Village,
everybody go see Contra Corriente
yeah,
Undertow.
Friday the 26th.
Friday the 26th. Bye, Sofa.